our good friend Angus Hamill, who does a fantastic show on Coast FM, Raw Youth Disability Radio, and also is behind the board at Triple J. He was speaking to you some weeks ago about this exact diagnosis. This is relatively recent for you, as we understand it. So, as much as you're willing to or keen to discuss, would you want to dive into that and tell us a little bit about how that came about and the impact it's had on you, maybe both as a musician and personally?
Yeah, for sure. So I was diagnosed 3 or 4 years ago now. Um, and I mean, like so many, like so many autistic people have a really similar story. And it's that growing up, I just always knew I was different. I didn't really fit in very well at school. I had a really hard time, understanding social rules. So, a great example is I would assume that someone would want to hear the honest truth. But I had to learn in high school that actually people prefer when you lie, which, newsflash, not really compatible with a lot of autistic people. So got myself in hot water a lot growing up, just really struggling to understand how other people's brains worked, and just all I wanted was just to fit in. Um, and yeah, high school was tough. I was bullied pretty bad. And so I ended up changing schools in year nine and went to a new school that was just incredible for me. Really supportive teachers, incredible principal, all teachers in principal who I'm like, still in touch with. Um, I was catching the train home the other night and met a bunch of kids on the train who helped me not miss my train spot. And turns out they were from the same school. We were talking about how great our music teachers were. Like that was a real safe haven for me. Um, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I had friends, which was really cool. But I still would get to a point where, I would say or do the wrong thing and not be able to understand what went wrong. And it wasn't until I had a close family member of mine get diagnosed with autism that the cogs started turning for me. Um, just because I was really able to anticipate his needs. Like I understood him. And so many people in the family would be like, "Oh, Zoe did that. No, that's like Zoe. Oh, you two are similar." And then I was like, "Oh, there's something to this." And that was right around the time lockdown happened. And so I had, even though I was a frontline healthcare worker, which was a lot, um, we were only dealing with emergency patients. So all of the routine clinics shut down. So at certain points, before we had knew what we were doing with COVID, there was a weird quiet period where no one knew what to do. So we had like quite a bit of spare time, and that's when the research started. And I was just reading and reading and reading from other women and girls' experiences and going, oh my gosh, like everything makes sense. I finally could have a grasp on why I didn't fit in, why I innately cannot accept and enforce social hierarchy. I don't understand it. I don't like it. That's just not how I function. And I used to, like, I can accept that now, that that's just how I function. But back in the day, before I knew I was autistic, it was more about, well, why can't I be like everyone else? They seem to be able to do it. Why can't I? I'm not trying hard enough. I'm not good enough. Or I was always very sensitive, Zoe's too sensitive. She gets overwhelmed very easily. And just to know that that is just because that's how my neuronal pathways are set up it's been really great to not be so mean to myself. You can have like a real harsh inner critic, inner bully that I've really gladly just skeeted out the door. Um, Not without it sometimes knocking back and wanting to be like, hey, I want to go do some old haunts and put that mask back on. But I don't know, the older I'm getting, the more I get excited about just being myself. And if people find that weird, then I just don't really care. And sometimes it gets to me, but honestly, most of the time, I'm just so stoked to not be expending so much energy hiding who I am. Um, yeah, time to be myself.